So this company, Root Wellness, is a game changer because they have developed products that actually help people detox the bad things out of their body and then support their bodies to wellness by putting in things into the body that will help the body perform and work at an optimal level.
Well, Christina, it's fantastic to meet you finally. I've been following your work, and I was always thought that we would at some point, connect up. And of course, Connecting Consciousness now has over 100,000 members, all of whom are very aware of the battle, I call it the battle, that we face every day to, maintain our purity, our sovereignty, and all the difficulties that we face. And so it was no surprise to me that we would finally, connect up. And one of my goals has been to try to bring alternative medicine, alternative healings and practices to my members so that they've got choices. They can choose what they want. So some of my members are going to know you really well, but a lot, I guess, won't. So it would be really lovely if you would be very kind and just introduce yourself and talk about what you've been doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, my name is Dr. Christina Rahm, and I am a nanotechnologist, bioscience engineer by education. I also studied pharmaceutical operations and nutrition. Long time ago, I was a psychologist. I focused a lot on the spirituality of people emotionally and mentally. And I've always been into data analytics and statistics. So developing a lot of patient registries, working with the governments in a lot of countries. I've traveled to 84 countries for work. But the whole purpose has been to help, heal and support people's bodies from a wellness perspective. I did work for pharmaceutical and biotech for years. I actually loved my career in the biotech pharma space. I understand the pros and cons. I also understand very much what's happened. I worked on retroviruses, antivirals, vaccines, human monoclonal antibodies, all of it from Bristol Myers Squibb with HIV to working in the space with cancer and lots of blood disorders or autoimmune disorders. So just to sum it up, I think if you look at me, I'm a mother of 4. I love my children so much. I have 3 boys and a girl and a daughter. And I love being a mother. I love being a friend. I love the animals we have and the life that we have. But I have devoted, I would say, 80% of my time on this earth to the mission of helping things heal and helping create an environment that we can thrive in and that we can be our best in. And really, that's a summary of me, Simon. And I've heard wonderful things about you. I always feel guilty when I do these and I talk about me. I'd rather talk about
That's true. No, that's absolutely fine. It's what my members need to hear is what you have created. But you see, the thing is between a mother and a father. A mother wants to provide an environment that her children will actually thrive and grow in, and it's the duty, I think, of the parents to protect. So what you're doing is you're not just protecting your own children. What you're offering is something that protects all the children, all the people of the planet. And I think that that's a driving force that many women have that sadly many men don't have. So listen, let's talk about roots. Let's talk about what you've created. The audience CCR with it. They understand, and they are desperate to hear good news. And I think you've got good news. So please tell us about what you've created.
Okay. Yeah, that goes a little bit back to where I started creating this was when I lost a child to cancer, had another child with cancer. I had a brain tumor, spinal tumor, melanoma, cancer throughout my body because I had carried a pregnancy where there were issues. And so it spread everywhere. And to say I wasn't scared is not true. I was very scared. And of course, going to doctors when all of this started, I was immediately reminded of when I was 19 and had Lyme disease and meningitis and ended up in the hospital. It was like a nightmare for me because I had everything going right in my life. So to have twice in my in my life have cancer where it was really bad and they needed to do surgery and chemotherapy and radiation, it really led me twice in my life to look at natural things and how I could support my body. Even when I went to biotech and pharma, I am a firm believer in both traditional medicine and holistic, functional, integrative medicine and wellness. And I really started studying, before I was a nanotechnologist, I started studying about how we're just composed of energy. I was always fascinated with quantum physics. I started, understanding even more and more how everybody's DNA is the same. And I can't even accentuate that enough. I have all these people around me in my career that would ask questions about what I believed and what I thought because of what I've done. Most of the scientists that do what I do not have a similar belief as me, because my belief has always been, again, we share the energy here, we share the energy spiritually, we align it, and it's very important. So when I started working on really how to create things that would heal my family and my children and me and everyone around me, I actually didn't think about them going out to the world at first. I felt like my mission was more of a humanitarian and a scientist traveling for healthcare to help governments, as well as strategically use numbers, because again, anytime you do science like I do, it's a numbers thing, it's a math thing too, right? It's not just the science. And I have this different capacity actually of anyone that I've met before, where I can just know an answer to something. And people think it's because of my education, because I did stay in school for about 21 years in multiple degrees. But it's actually not. A lot of times I just know. And if people say, how do you know? It's like kind of like knowing how to speak for me. So
I think that's the connection to God. That's the connection to source. It's a two-way channel that exists that never turns off. So you don't get the corrupted answer, you get the actual truth, and that's what you've got.
I agree with you. But, I was a little girl, and I felt this connection to God. And I don't talk about it a lot because, in the field that I'm in as a scientist, you're kind of criticized for that. They make fun. I remember sitting in a meeting, and I'm not going to say which pharmaceutical company it was, and the medical director of the company making fun of me because of, my belief. And he thought it was ridiculous. And I just said, this is, how I believe, because I had the answers, and I would I would just be able to get us the answers, but no one understood exactly why. Because that was before, actually, when I went into biotech and pharma, it was before I ended up going back to school in nanotechnology and pharmaceutical. So I was more of a psychologist and a scientist than the other, and they couldn't figure it out. And you're absolutely right, Simon, is my connection to God and what I believe I'm here to do, which is to help people. To me, it's very simple. It's not very complicated, but I kept coming up with different things that I used with my own body. And when they went in to do the pituitary prolactinoma surgery and the other surgery that I was going to have, each time right before I would go in, they would say, it's gone. We can't find it. We don't understand this. I was a miracle. And actually, I could cite that same situation with numerous people in my own family when I would give them different things. Same thing would happen. I don't know if they understand why? Because when doctors say to you, we don't understand, it's a miracle, they really don't understand, and they try to figure it out. But for me, it was simply following what I knew that I needed to do. So I worked on a lot of different things that would help detox my body and get rid of the toxins, because I started understanding even more and more. In the 80s, the World Health Organization and all the scientific major thought leaders were talking about heavy metals and the environment and how we were becoming toxic and how we needed to clean ourselves. And then at the same time, I understood, black hole theories and string theories, which at the time no one believed in, and I did, and time travel and all of that. So my whole thing was, I need to do this inside the body. We've got to go to basically another level, and we've got to clean it out. It was really hard at first because pharmaceutically you have to follow certain guidelines, and nutraceutically you have to follow certain guidelines. When you make a supplement like a vitamin and or a mineral or something that people take that's natural and not a synthetic, both those areas you have to make sure that you have certain guidelines you have to fit into. So I did go back to school for 3 years in nanotechnology. I focused really on how do I clean out the body. If you've had a lot of cancer, autoimmune disorders, if you've been exposed to a lot of toxins. I had a lot of friends in Ukraine near Chernobyl, a lot of friends in Asia that were suffered from, nuclear waste, which were the nuclear bomb was created by nanotechnologists. GMOs were created by nanobiotechnologists. And people ask me, why would you be one? And my answer is because I want to help people. And this is what I felt like I needed to learn. If we're going to get rid of things that were caused by that, we've got to figure out how to do that naturally, but also understand the science. And so I was able to create a detoxification formula that I actually did not have my name around. There's other companies out there that are using my formula. I produced it in a lab. I actually went to Canada and produced it, New York and produced it, Florida and produced it for multiple clean rooms. And I actually did not even want to get paid. I just said, I want the formulas for my family. I used a zeolite with what I studied every single thing that I could study and wanted to create a silica-based product that when you're detoxing with the zeolite, it's also healing the body. Because the problem I kept finding with a lot of my formulas and other people is it looked great, it sounded great, but when I looked at the science underneath, I was worried about the heavy metals going back into the body. I was worried about it not healing at the same time that it was detoxing. So I've changed the formula that Root has, which is called Clean Slate, which is a detoxification formula. I've changed that so many times. And finally, they launched what I really wanted them to launch last year. I was very concerned because of all the vaccines, because of the virus, because of everything, and not even I'm not making a judgment of people have or haven't had it, right? I really am not. I have friends on both sides, but I wanted to make sure that the side effects from all of this mess that's around us right now, that we could still be the best we could be and still get rid of the things we didn't need and shut off the signaling from the things that we weren't supposed to have in our bodies. And that's really what I created. And for scientists that understand that there's other realms and that there's other places, because we do know, like I said, black hole theory, string theory, all of that is not a lie. We know that exists. We also know that it's one of the answers to how we can see things. Basically creating a portal in the body where you can get rid of things. And I have to be careful how I talk about this as a scientist, but that was my goal. And to support the body, because I wish I could share with people, and I've said this so many times, I'm fascinated by viruses and bacteria and parasites and fungal. Look, we're born with more bacterial cells than we are human cells. Like, it's part of us, like it's part of our beauty. It's who we are. So I'm not scared of what's happening right now, because for me, that formula was very important. And then because of my travel, which I really believe, this is going to sound odd to everyone on this call, but I never planned on going to Lebanon or Syria or Nigeria or all the different places I've gone to. I really didn't. It was not a dream of mine. I did want to travel to help people. Initially, I really wanted to work with orphanages because I love children, but I really never planned on spending that kind of time in China, Russia, pick a country. It just all happened. And I believe so that I could see different types of health and wellness and make the things I was working on better, because I've been exposed to doctors and scientists in all those countries, as well as, good and bad people. So at Root, we have the first formula, Clean Slate, which is really to help detox during this current environment and also after this environment. Another thing I tried to do with that formula is to help with aging, because I do understand that we can live in this body, in this shell, to be 130 and 140 if we take care of ourselves. And I was getting older, and I've had cancer. When you've had multiple types of cancer and you're getting older and you've been exposed to things, you want to create things that can help the skin, help your eyes, which are a window to the soul. I believe you want them to look as clear as possible, and the inside of the body. So Clean Slate does that as well. When you look at the images of what was created, it almost looks like a newborn baby cell after people use them. Now it gets dirty again. And this is one thing I want your audience to understand. I wish I could create something that you never have to use again. I'm sure that the business people around me would not like that, but I really wish that that I could. The current formula of Clean Slate is the strongest one I've ever worked on. Some people can only take 1 to 2 drops in the morning and 1 to 2 drops at night. You can use it on your skin. You can use it on your hair. You can use it in your eyes, but it stings because it has trace minerals embedded into it. I use lots of different emulsions, and on the label, you know, how cute your dog. On the label, it has such a high vitamin C, and that's a longer conversation, but vitamin C is a key vitamin, which really helps with cleaning as well as supplementing, and it comes again from our earth, as well as trace minerals. So if you look at what I created, it's really already here. It's not like I'm something special. I just understood how to put it into a bottle where people can take it and it can help them in this current environment, so they're not scared when they travel. You know, I don't want people to be scared when they get sick, because again, we have fungus and bacteria and parasites and viruses in our body. I want people to learn to protect themselves and to make sure they're cleaning the inside of their body so that they can have the best, you know, mind and stomach and brain.
Christina, I just wanted to, first of all, I'm going to say that one of the reasons that your physical body was attacked was because they can't attack the soul, they can't attack the spirit. So the evil, which would have identified you as an important person who would change the paradigm. So often those of us who are good are attacked, but the attack comes in the only way they can, which is our 3D connection. So, you know, it doesn't surprise me that you've been attacked like that. Now, there are two things I really want to ask you. One, I want to ask about the pineal gland. And the importance of that. And the second is that as we, as living creatures, those of us who choose to advance into the 5th dimension and higher, a crystalline, at the moment we have an organic body of blood and bone, but I believe that will be moving to more of a crystalline structure in the future. But what I want to ask you, please, is about the pineal gland, because, you know, my members know that is their antenna, that's their aerial. Now, have you got something that can knock that poison out of there?
Yeah. So because I'm a nanotechnologist and worked on how to deliver products that pass the brain barrier and clean the brain out, and because I've had Lyme disease, which you probably know this, Simon, the spiral sheets go into the brain to lay eggs, and I that's how I talk to people. I mean, they lay eggs, and they actually, you can pass those on to other people, even though they say that you can't. I wanted something that definitely would do that. I can't state that a product that I have that's a supplement does that, because if I do that with my background, they'll say it's a pharmaceutical biotech product. But the product that I have with Clean Slate is there to help create the pineal, to clean out the pineal gland, which is one of the most important things. So I've always said this is a shell, but this pineal gland, and that's what's right here, your energy source, it's so important. So that was definitely my focus. For me, the most frustrating thing about being sick was when I couldn't think, right? Because it was so important to me. And it's really odd. I had a photographic memory. I could remember everything. I never had to study for tests. When I got sick with Lyme disease, which was my first really attack, although I will say that makes sense what you're saying, Simon, because I've been sick from different things off and on since I was little. I was born premature sick in the hospital. But when that happened, I started really studying the pineal gland and how this needed to be the source. And if you could keep that as a light source, then you could do almost anything, even if you were sick. And something that people that are close to me know, I've asked this question of all my close friends, is when I close my eyes, I see this little white pinpoint dot in the middle of my eyes. I always have since I've been a little girl. And I noticed when I didn't take care of myself, it was dulled. And so I don't know if you know this, Simon, but if you really focus on the pineal gland and the energetic source, you can actually do this through meditation. But I was born being able to do that, not practicing it. It just was part. I thought everyone did that. And I remember one time saying to my best friend, Susan, we were living together for 7 years in college. And I said, I just sometimes wish it would go off a little bit because it would keep me up, because I would focus on it and then get answers to different things. And so it's really important, the pineal gland. And it wasn't just clean slate that I focused on. There was a product called Zero In. I'd worked on a lot of nootropics from traveling to all these countries. I would take certain ingredients like pine bark and velvet bean, L-theanine, turmeric, curcumin, black cumin seed oil, all this stuff that I saw would actually in other countries, they would use medically to get rid of things and to also heal. Also, those have properties which are considered, just like certain mushrooms, hallucinogenic. But if you use them in a small amount, you can actually use the natural organic isolate, which is really the energy source, right? When they talk about the natural part of the ingredients of, let's say, vitamin C, or let's take mushrooms, they all have their natural isotope, and that basically it's where their energy source comes from. And I use that from many different plants, many different minerals, and I made a product called Zero In. I can just tell you this, if I take a Zero In the morning, and I try to every morning, there's a couple of mornings I have forgotten, I can just laser focus on things throughout the day. Some people can take up to 4. We've had people that have had autism, ADHD, Alzheimer's, dementia. We can't make claims about anything, but we've had it support people to really help them. And in the current environment with everything going on, we've had a lot of people that have suffered from depression and anxiety. I feel like the pineal gland has been under attack. I feel like it's something, if you can turn that off, you basically lose part of what is your soul, or your ability to produce things that are positive for the world. I'm going to be careful how I talk about that, but it's really important. So I worked on Zero In, which is the second product that the company launched. And then I worked on a product called Restore, and that's exactly what that product was for. Here's your issue. When your body is under attack like it is right now, or your body is having to deal with so many things, and it's interesting that you said that we're moving toward a crystalline structure, because that's really been my focus, is how do we create an environment that we're still here, even if our bodies are not what they used to be. Because I will tell you, part of my training, understanding bioprinting from 20 years, that you can recreate a brain. 20 years ago, we were studying it. You can create a brain, you can create an arm, you can bioprint. I understood that maybe someday all we're going to have is that, right? Is this source, because if they get rid of everything else and you can just become a machine, which actually we're capable of doing now, right? We're capable of producing these things. It's not a myth. It's what's happening. If we can create something that we're still there, even though maybe it doesn't look like us, it doesn't seem like us, but we still have our soul, we still have our spirit, we still have our connection to God, then I'm happy, if we can do that. So Zero In was really important to me to really give that, help people clean with a clean slate, and actually help bring that back. And then with Restore, I wanted people to be able to have something that if they traveled to like Nigeria or Malaysia and they couldn't eat for a while, or they didn't have food, they were in an environment where the food maybe wasn't clean, they could just give their body everything they need that would actually give extra support to the entire lymphatic system and the cells in the body, as well as the pineal gland. So that was Restore. And then 2 other products, Relive Greens is what I used when I had a brain tumor and a spinal tumor. What I used when I talked to you about what did you use to get rid of some of the stuff you had, definitely versions of the clean slate and versions of the Relive Greens is what I used. I feel like Relive Greens is actually better than what I had. I sourced the greens from places that I had traveled since I was 25 years old. I've been to more places, I've had more experiences, and I wanted to make something that was made in the infant stage of the plant. So we didn't have GMOs, we didn't have issues with wheat allergies. And so I wanted the purest form, and that's what I was able to do with that specific formula. Again, the purpose is to give life back to the body, but give life back, more importantly, like you said, to the pineal gland, and making sure that that energy source is taken care of. I feel like that's really one of the main attacks that our bodies have gone under, but I feel like a lot of people don't understand that. So I appreciate you bringing that up to me.
Well, thank you. It's just that the members, in Connected Consciousness, who are striving to increase their spirituality, and to fight off the 3D world around us. It's something that they all understand. So these products, I mean, I haven't even seen them. I know of them, and I've read testimonies, and I know how good they are, but I don't know if they're in a bottle or a packet or a tablet. How are they dispensed?
I feel bad that I don't have, do I have any here with me? I do. I don't have I don't have the first product, Clean Slate, which I feel like is essential for everyone in your audience. It's in a little bottle. We keep running out because we've sold so much of Clean Slate. You take 1 to 10 drops in the morning, but I recommend that your audience only starts with 1 or 2 drops and 1 or 2 drops at night. I will tell you, with me, I'm just letting you know, because people tell me that they can't take more than a couple of drops. I can drink half a bottle, but I'm used to it. And like, if I get sick, that's one of the things I do to help myself. But you have to work up to that because your body has to get used to it.
Sure.
It's kind of like awakening, and I'm sure your audience understands that. Sometimes you can't do it. Sometimes you have to rip the Band-Aid off, which is what a lot of the doctors will do with the product, is give a lot of it. But a lot of times it's better if you just slowly do it so that it doesn't impact the body. It doesn't shock you, because some people aren't used to it. Like, they'll have a lot of energy, or they'll be tired for a couple of days. Their skin can break out when they're detoxing, just different things. A lot of people will use like infrared saunas and different types of energy, with that, but or chelation therapy and different things. But this is much safer, because if you think about how I made that product, it's 66% silica. And again, it's there to heal and not detox. Most of these zeolite products are just detoxing. I wanted to bring life back into people's bodies. I was worried that while they were doing it, they wouldn't heal, and this gland would be detoxing, but without healing it at the same time, you don't have the same effect. And I think this does go back to being a mother. I think, as women, we want to heal, and we want things to be, and that's not just me, that's most mothers, most women, that's just how we're made. And I celebrate that, to be honest, because
Sure.
I love that part of me, and I want to bring that to the world. This is the 0N, and these are, and they're almost orange because they have so much curcumin, turmeric. And I source this from, people always say to me, isn't all turmeric curcumin the same? Not at all. It's all, there's from different countries, there's different sources. You make it in a different process. I use a lot of heating, cooling, polarization magnets in the, again, energy levels with the manufacturing process. But I take 1 in the morning, and like I said, some people take 4. But I tell people, if they're going to start with this, don't take more than 2 in the morning and 2 at lunch. Now, some people take them at night, and like Clayton, my husband takes them at night. I can't. And it helps you focus on whatever you're focusing on. We've had a lot of Olympic athletes. In fact, Athelia, who is from Hungary, he is the world champion in long distance swimming. He does, in the oceans, the deep.
Right. Okay.
He has more records than anyone in that area. And he is, I think, 52. And he set the record this year, and he swears it's because of this.
Oh, wonderful.
He used the Clean Slate. It really helps with performance. And I will tell you, so physical performance, sexual, mental, it helps you focus. So some people say they can focus and it helps them sleep. And in reality, L-theanine, L-arginine, your pine bark, your velvet bean, they can all do that. And I use a natural caffeine with green tea leaves. So all of that can make you do that. But if you're a person that has so much to do and you still are focused,
Right.
I can't go to bed without thinking about my children and what I need to do to help them, or people that I met. I don't know if your wife should take this at night because she has kids, but no. So yeah, 1, you're gonna not feel different. So I'm gonna explain this. So when people drink, like coffee, you feel like you've drank coffee with, and I do not drink, like if I buy coffee, or make it in the morning, I only drink half a glass now. I used to have like 4 in the morning, but I don't, because of the 0N. I don't need it. You don't feel that with 0N. You don't feel like you're on something that's an upper or anything like that. You just feel like 30 minutes to an hour later, you'll notice oh my gosh, I'm calmer. Like I feel like I have energy, but not just like I said, it helps you focus. I really want you to try that, by the way, because I think you're gonna.
Well, the important thing is when I give my backing to something, I must have tried it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be wrong. So, I will definitely be trying whatever you guys send. We've done it with others, and what's important is that the person behind it, you're not selling breakfast cereal, you're not selling secondhand autos, you're selling something that can help humanity. And you know if you were there with the hard sell, then you wouldn't actually be able to put into the product the energy high frequencies, because you have the vision and the belief that you are able. I mean, look at Emoto and the water. When he did all his experiments with the water, and he showed exactly how memory can be retained and how energy can be retained in a structure. And so it's no surprise that you are on this way. This is what you were meant to do, this and other things. It's exactly why you're here. And the bad guys don't want you here, but of course they're not going to win. So I'm delighted to promote this. It's vital that people are fighting against all of this pollution. I just loosely call it pollution out there. I mean, I remember I think it was 1968, and my grandfather, who was a really high up Freemason, he said to me, right, said they're putting fluoride in the toothpaste in the United Kingdom. You're never ever to have any toothpaste with fluoride in, because we know what it does. So, the elite have known for years
Oh
what
yeah.
the truth is, and the problem is that the ordinary regular guys it's been hidden from them. And so one of my roles in my vision, if you like, is to ensure that we level the playing field. Why should ordinary people have a different lifestyle? Why should they have an inability to obtain what the rich and elite can? And so, what all I'm doing is I'm leveling the playing field so that people who are awake and aware enough understand they can come. And I'm delighted to promote what you've got there. I'm very privileged to meet you, because the soul in your body is 12th dimensional, and you came here for this purpose, and you're here at this time because, my God, it's a war. We're actually at war for the salvation of humanity. That's what this is about. So you're here as an enlightened being, and I know my members will recognize that. And so, I know that the tech guys are going to put a link up below this video so that people can click on and buy the products. But is there anything that you would need to tell my audience? Is there anything that we've not covered?
Well, no, I would love to just spend hours talking to you, because I have so many questions. I will tell you that people come up to me and say what you've said, but I believe you. I trust you because I can tell you're telling me the truth. I was actually at a Christian church when I was in my 20s, and somebody came up and started crying, and they asked if they could wash my feet with oil and if they could touch me. And I didn't know how to react to this. And they said that I had a prophecy over me. There was going to be a war in healthcare. And that and you can imagine at that age, I had one getting ready to have, two kids. And I didn't know, even though people had said different things to me my entire life, it was shocking. I said, what do you mean a war on healthcare? And they said, you'll see, it's going to happen within the next 20 years. And it's going to, which is really almost exactly, from when this happened to me, when they said this, and I did not understand, but here's what I did understand. I started praying to be used for the mission, because they said this was the one reason I was here on this earth.
That's correct. That's correct.
For that reason. And that it must be confusing to me, right? Because it was different and I had not fully developed. And I actually shared with them that the one thing I asked if they could help me with was, since I was little, my bed would shake and I would wake up and it wouldn't stop shaking. And I was like, I don't know what to say. And then, my roommate in college, who was just a friend that we went to undergrad school. And then my husband, he's now my ex-husband, but he had experienced it, and he was a professional football player, and he was very big, 6'5", and he said, we've got to get this to stop because this is making me scared. I can't be in the bed. And they explained to me that it was good and bad. So Simon, what you're saying is basically what they told me. There was good and bad, and they couldn't attack me spiritually.
Yeah, well, the shaking of the it's when you leave your physical body and you go into another realm, and then you return back. And sometimes the evil people try to prevent you return into your body, which is like this. That's that vibration. And sometimes when someone like yourself, which is very high vibration, is trying to reconnect with your physical body, which clearly cannot be at the same vibration because it has to survive in this energy field, this third dimension. It's about 3.7 now, but in that field, and sometimes it's like a gear shift car. I know most Americans don't have a gear shift car, but in a gear shift car, when you shift your gear, you are bringing a mechanical set of gears that fit in, and if it fits in nicely, it works really well, and if you don't get it right, it cracks. What's happening with that shaking is when your body's coming back, but there's a mismatch between it's like two airplanes docking, or spacecraft that dock, and that's perfectly normal. And when we're young and we're not trained, then that shaking is because we haven't timed it correctly. Now, as we get older, we get better at it. The shaking stops. It doesn't mean it's not happening. It just means that we've got it. Listen, it's lovely to speak to you. I will obviously have a chat with you off air at some point when it's convenient. I love you very much. I love the products you're doing. Thank you so much. I'm really happy for my members because they now have another option to follow to fight back against the dark forces who, frankly, are done with humanity. And so we've got to stand up for humanity. And I'm really delighted. So I'm sure we'll do more videos. I know that Connecting Consciousness will want that. And if you haven't yet joined Connecting Consciousness, then you should.
Yes, I will be joining your.
It's free. There's nothing to pay to join. I didn't want to have any money mixed in with it because that just lowers the frequency. So it's just free to join. Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Simon. Have a great day. Please tell your wife I really enjoyed meeting her as well.
Oh, that's lovely. All right. And the dog. Don't forget to say the dog. You've got dogs.
What's his name? I love dogs.
Well, he's got a human name. He's got an earth name, and he's got an off human name. So his human name is Merlin. That's Merlin. His human name, Merlin. But his off planet name is Kauma. Kauma. There's a reason for that, and one day I might tell you. All right. Lots of love.
Thank you. Lots of love. Thank you.
See you later. Bye-bye.